The strange blue light filled the room without warning. It was Tuesday afternoon when everything changed for humanity forever. Admiral Elaine Morgan was drinking her third coffee of the day in the Pentagon's secure meeting room. The cup fell from her hand when the massive screen on the wall turned on by itself. The dark liquid splashed across the polished table, but no one noticed. All eyes locked on the alien face that appeared. The creature had 6 blinking eyes arranged in a circle. Its skin shifted colors like oil on water. It stood at least 7 feet tall, with long, thin arms that ended in 4-fingered hands. People of Earth. The voice was deep and smooth. I am High Counselor Zexful of the Galactic Hegemony. General Frank Cooper grabbed the edge of the table. His knuckles turned white. Your planet has been watched for hundreds of years, the alien continued. We have decided your technology is now good enough for official contact. The 12 military leaders in the room exchanged worried glances. None of them spoke. By hegemony law, all new civilizations must pay tribute. This shows you understand your place in the galaxy. The alien's skin turned a darker blue. You have 30 days to deliver 5% of all Earth resources. This includes metals, power sources, and important cultural items. President Diane Wells walked into the room just as the alien added, if you fail, your planet will be cut off from all galactic contact. You will be alone. The screen went black. For 10 seconds, no one said a word. Is this real? The president finally asked, her voice steady despite her pale face. Admiral Morgan nodded. Yes, Madam President. The signal came simultaneously to every major military base on Earth. Our systems couldn't block it. 5% of everything. General Cooper slammed his fist on the table. That would destroy our economy. Millions would starve. Defense Secretary Alan Blackwood, a tall man with steel gray hair, pulled up calculations on his tablet. The rare metals alone would set us back decades, not to mention the fusion materials they want. President Wells took the seat at the head of the table. Unlike the others, her shock was already turning to resolve. Get me NASA, the Energy Department, and the UN Secretary on secure lines. Now. Madam President, Admiral Morgan said quietly, what exactly are we planning to do? We can't fight aliens with technology advanced enough to hack every system on Earth at once. And we can't give them what they want. Added General Cooper. My God, 5% of Earth's resources. It would cripple us. The president's eyes narrowed. Has America ever bowed to threats, Admiral? No, Mom. Then we won't start now. President Wells looked around the table. Assemble our best team. Scientists, military strategists, diplomats, everyone. I want options within 48 hours. And if we refuse their demands, asked Secretary Blackwood. The room fell silent again. Through the window, the Washington Monument stood tall against the blue sky, a sky that suddenly seemed much less empty and much more dangerous. They think we're weak, the president said softly. They think we'll just hand over whatever they ask for. She stood up, her decision made. They're about to learn something important about humans. We don't take orders from bullies, not even ones from other planets. 1 week after the alien message, Dr. Samantha Reed had barely slept. Her eyes burned as she stared at computer screens inside the secret lab beneath Cheyenne Mountain. Outside, the world was in panic. Inside, she had work to do. I found something, she said, pushing her red hair back from her tired face. Chief Engineer Paul Martinez hurried over. His coffee mug said, "World's best dad," but he hadn't seen his children in 6 days. Show me. Samantha pointed to strange patterns in the data. Look at these energy spikes. The alien message used some kind of quantum communication, but it has a regular pattern. Paul leaned closer, like a fingerprint. More like a weakness. Her eyes lit up. Their technology is very advanced. But it's not magic. There's a logic to it. And if there's logic, we can figure it out, Paul finished. He smiled for the first time in days. In another room down the hall, Captain Ethan Gregory watched as soldiers tested new shield technology. The metal disc they fired at was surrounded by a blue energy field. When bullets hit it, they turned to dust. "The shield works against our weapons," Ethan told the group of generals watching. "But we need more power to make it big enough for a ship." Admiral Morgan walked in, her uniform perfect despite the crisis. "What about the Helios project?" she asked. Ethan looked nervous. "It's not ready, ma'am. The engine works in tests, but we've never used it in space." "You have 3 weeks to make it ready." The Admiral's voice was firm. "If these aliens don't accept our answer, we need to show them we're not helpless." As they talked, a young soldier ran into the room. "Admiral, turn on the news." The big screen showed crowds in major cities around the world. Some people held signs saying "Welcome aliens," while others had signs reading "Earth first" and "No tribute." Police in riot gear stood between the groups. "The President is addressing the UN today," the Admiral said. "People are scared." In Washington, D.C., Katherine Nelson worked on the most important speech of her life. As the country's top diplomat, she would speak to the aliens when they returned for their answer. "How do you talk to beings from another world?" she asked her empty office. On her desk sat photos of her husband and son. She picked up the frame. "How do I keep you safe?" Her phone rang. It was the President. "Kate, I need your draft in an hour," President Wells said. "And it needs to be perfect. The future of our world depends on what you write today." Katherine took a deep breath. "I know, but Madam President, are we really going to say no to them? Their ships are bigger than our cities." "We are Americans," the President replied firmly. "And today we speak for all humans. We will not bow to threats. Not now, not ever." As Katherine began typing, a red light blinked on a screen at Cheyenne Mountain. Dr. Reed's computer had found a pattern. The alien technology had a weakness after all. Project Defiance had begun. The United Nations building in New York had never been so full. World leaders sat shoulder to shoulder in the Great Hall. No one spoke. All eyes were on the empty space in the center of the room. A flash of light made people gasp. The aliens were there. High Counselor Zext Thol stood 8 feet tall. His skin changed colors like a light show. 4 alien guards stood beside him. They had metal parts on their bodies that gleamed under the lights. Katherine Nelson took a deep breath and stood up from her seat in the front row. Her blue suit was perfectly pressed, her steps steady as she walked toward the aliens. 15 years as America's top diplomat had prepared her for tough talks, but nothing like this. Still, she didn't show fear. "Welcome to Earth, High Counselor," she said in a clear voice. The main alien looked down at her with all 6 eyes blinking. "We are pleased you asked for this meeting. Have you prepared your tribute?" Katherine felt the weight of billions of humans watching this moment. "High Counselor, Earth wants peace with the galactic hegemony. But we suggest something different than tribute. We offer to share our culture, science, and trade with you as friends. This would help both our worlds." The alien's head tilted slightly. "Interesting. In 10,000 cycles, no species has ever suggested alternatives. They simply give tribute." Some of the world leaders behind Katherine whispered to each other. This was news. "Humans value being free," Katherine explained. "We want to join the galaxy as equals, not as servants." Equals. The alien's skin turned purple. "Equality must be earned. Your species is young, untested. The tribute shows you accept the natural order." Katherine stood taller, though she barely reached the alien's chest. "With respect, humans have never accepted any natural order that demands we submit. We overcome challenges. We find new paths. That is our way." The alien's skin changed to a pattern of swirling colors. Was that amusement? "Your tribute deadline stays the same. We will watch your independent spirit until then." In a flash of light, the aliens vanished. The hall burst into noise as everyone started talking at once. Catherine felt her phone buzz in her pocket. The message from Cheyenne Mountain was short. Project Defiance at 70% complete. Need more time. Catherine slipped out a side door where Admiral Morgan waited. How did I do? You got us 2 more weeks, the Admiral said. They'll wait until the deadline before they act. And will we be ready? Admiral Morgan nodded. Dr. Reed made a breakthrough last night. And the ship, you need to see it. A ship against their fleet. Catherine shook her head. Not just any ship. The Admiral handed her a folder marked TOP Secret. It's time you learned about the Helios Project. As Catherine opened the folder, her eyes widened. This is impossible. That's what the aliens think too, said the Admiral with a small smile. And that's our advantage. Deep beneath the Nevada desert, huge metal doors slid open. They revealed a ship unlike anything built on Earth before. The USV Defiance gleamed under the bright lights. It was not large, only about the size of a passenger jet. But its smooth silver hull had no wings or engines that anyone could see. What do you think? Colonel Jack Warren asked Dr. Reed as they walked toward the ship. His buzz cut and square jaw made him look like the military man he was. It's both beautiful and scary, Samantha said quietly. She had dark circles under her eyes from working day and night. The Helios drive is still not stable. If the energy field breaks during a jump, then we make sure it doesn't break, Jack said with a tight smile. He was scared too, but wouldn't show it. They entered the ship through a door that seemed to appear from nowhere in the smooth hull. Inside, 10 other people were busy checking systems. They were Earth's best, pilots, scientists, and special forces soldiers picked from thousands. On a secure screen, President Wells spoke to them. What you are about to do has never been done before. If talking fails, you can use the Helios protocol. Good luck to you all. As the crew prepared for launch, Jack looked at the small photo taped to his control panel. It showed a woman and 2 small boys. His family thought he was on a regular mission. They had no idea he might never come home. Everyone strapped in, he called out. Around the ship, the crew gave thumbs up. They all knew the risks. They all volunteered anyway. Helios drive powering up, reported pilot Ben Carson, his dark hands moving quickly over the controls. Energy level stable. The ship hummed softly as it rose straight up. There was no fire, no roar of engines. It moved like it weighed nothing at all. Stealth systems active, said Lieutenant Lisa Rice from her station. We're invisible to normal sensors. As the Defiance shot upward into the night sky, satellites around Earth spotted 5 new alien ships entering the solar system. They were huge, each one bigger than an aircraft carrier. They're coming to collect their tribute, Jack said grimly, or to punish us for saying no. The trip to Jupiter would take days in a normal ship, but the Defiance was not normal. Prepare for first jump, Jack ordered. Everyone tensed. The Helios drive had only been tested with empty ships before, never with people on board. Drive at full power, Samantha reported, her voice shaking slightly. Coordinates locked. Jack took a deep breath. Jump. For a split second, everything seemed to stop. The crew felt like they were being pulled in all directions at once. Then, suddenly, there was Jupiter, filling the view screens. We did it, someone shouted. Samantha checked her readings with shaking hands. Jump successful. All systems normal. But their celebration didn't last long. The ship's sensors beeped a warning. Colonel, called out Lisa, we've detected a massive alien mothership orbiting Jupiter. It's at least 2 miles long. Jack nodded. Good. Found them on our first try. He opened a channel to Earth. Command. This is Defiance. We have eyes on the target. Preparing for Phase 2. It was time to show the aliens that humans weren't as helpless as they thought. Back on Earth, tension filled the air. People around the world watched their screens as the alien ships moved closer to our planet. Schools were closed. Some stores ran out of food as people bought everything they could. In the White House, President Wells sat at a large table with her top advisors. The room was quiet except for the soft hum of air conditioning. No one wanted to be the first to speak. Finally, the big screen on the wall lit up. High Counselor Zextol's alien face appeared. "Your time ends tomorrow," he said without greeting. "We see no tribute being prepared. Do you plan to disobey the hegemony?" The president stood up straight. She had practiced this moment for hours. "We have prepared an alternative offering. Knowledge, art, and science freely given as friends. You lose nothing by accepting this instead of tribute." The alien's skin darkened to a deep blue. "You do not understand your place. The hegemony has met thousands of species. All must follow the same path. Those who refuse face consequences." "What consequences exactly?" asked the president, her voice calm despite her racing heart. "Isolation. Your solar system will be cut off. No travel, no messages to other worlds. Your species will remain alone until you learn to obey." Everyone in the room looked worried. Everyone except the president. She had received a secret message just 10 minutes ago. Secret Service Director Nancy Clark leaned close and whispered, "The Defiance has reached Jupiter orbit. They're in position." President Wells gave a small nod. "High Counselor, before you make that decision, we have something to show you." On the USV Defiance, Colonel Warren received a message from Earth. It contained just one word: "Go." "Roger that," he responded. Then he turned to his crew. "It's time, people. Helios Protocol is active." Dr. Reed looked up from her station. "Energy levels are good. The drive is ready." Jack nodded. "All stations, prepare for demonstration sequence." On the main alien ship, alarms suddenly went off. Something unexpected was happening. "What is that vessel?" demanded Zextol, looking at a new screen that showed the Defiance. Back in the White House, President Wells smiled. "That's one of our ships. I thought you knew all about us." The alien's 6 eyes blinked rapidly. "Impossible. Your technology is not advanced enough for interplanetary travel so quickly." "Maybe you don't know humans as well as you think," the president said. Near Jupiter, the Defiance's special drive hummed to life. It pulled energy from space itself in a way no one thought possible. No one except Dr. Reed and her team. "Target locked," reported Lieutenant Reyes. "Ready to jump to Europa." "Do it," ordered Colonel Warren. In a flash, the ship disappeared from Jupiter orbit and reappeared near Europa, one of Jupiter's moons. Then it jumped to another moon, Ganymede, then to Callisto. Each jump took just seconds, showing off technology the aliens thought was impossible for humans to have. On Earth, all screens showed what the Defiance was doing. Zextol watched, his alien face showing clear shock. "This cannot be," he said. "Your species cannot have jump technology. We call it the Helios Drive." President Wells explained calmly, "Just one of many things we've created on our own." "Now about those isolation plans. Maybe we should talk about more fair terms." The alien's skin rippled with complex patterns. "The Council must meet. This changes things." As Zextol's image disappeared, Dr. Reed's voice came through on a private channel. "Madam President, the alien fleet is powering up weapons. They're getting ready to attack." The president's face hardened. "Begin Phase 2. They're charging weapons," Lieutenant Reyes shouted on the Defiance. The ship's alarm began to blare. Colonel Warren's face stayed calm, but his hands gripped his chair tightly. "All crew to battle stations. Activate defense shields." A thin blue field appeared around the ship. It was the same technology they had tested on Earth, but much bigger now. "Shields at full power," Dr. Reed reported. Her voice shook slightly. "But they won't hold against their main weapons for long." The alien mothership turned slowly toward them. It was huge, like a floating city in space. A bright green light began to build at its front. "They're targeting us," Rice said. Jack opened a channel to Earth. "Command, this is Defiance. The aliens are preparing to fire. Request permission to activate Phase 2. President Wells's voice came through clearly. Permission granted, Colonel. Show them what humans can really do. Jack nodded to Dr. Reed. Do it, Sam. Samantha pressed a series of buttons on her screen. Sending activation signal now. For a moment, nothing happened. The green light on the alien ship grew brighter. Then suddenly, small objects all around Jupiter began to light up. They had been invisible before. What is happening? The alien commander's voice boomed across all channels. His tone showed he was worried for the first time. 100 small satellites, hidden in Jupiter's orbit weeks ago, activated at once. They created a special energy field that surrounded the alien fleet. On the main alien ship, control panels went dark. Weapons powered down. What have you done? Zexful demanded, his image appearing on the Defiance's screen. Insurance, Jack replied. Those satellites create a space-time bubble around your ships. You can't fire weapons, call home, or leave until we turn it off. Back on Earth, people watched in amazement as the news showed what was happening. The president stood in the White House control room, a small smile on her face. How is this possible? Asked one of her advisors. How did we get those satellites there before the aliens came? We've been preparing for alien contact for years, the president explained. Dr. Reed and her team developed this technology in secret. The satellites were placed last year, just in case. In Jupiter orbit, the alien ships floated powerless in the energy field. Colonel Warren turned to his crew. Phase 2 complete, he announced. The aliens are contained. A cheer went up around the ship. For the first time in weeks, people allowed themselves to hope. On the video screen, Zexful's skin had turned almost black, a sign of strong emotion. You have acted. Unexpectedly, the alien said finally. No species has ever trapped a hegemony fleet before. Humans are full of surprises, Jack replied. Now I suggest you tell your council it's time for real talks. As equals. The alien was silent for a long moment. The council will hear of this. They must reconsider. As the screen went dark, Dr. Reed turned to Jack with tears in her eyes. We did it. We actually did it. Jack nodded, looking at the photo of his family. Phase 2 was successful. Now comes the hard part. What's that? Asked Samantha. Making peace, he said quietly. That's always harder than winning a fight. 3 days later, the Galactic Council held an emergency meeting. It was the first one in 5,000 years. The Great Hall on the Council's home planet was filled with beings from 100 different worlds. Some looked almost human. Others were strange beyond imagination. All were surprised by why they were called. High Counselor Zexful stood in the center. His skin was a calm blue now. The humans have proven different, he told the gathered leaders. They developed jump technology on their own and created a defense system that stopped our fleet without firing a shot. I suggest a new way of dealing with them. Elder Counselor Bax Crawl, the oldest member of the council, leaned forward. His scales glittered in the light. You want to treat a new species as partners. That has never happened before. Their development is also something we have never seen before, Zexful replied. They value freedom more than safety, a trait we have not found in other worlds. The council argued for hours. Some wanted to send a bigger fleet to crush Earth. Others were curious about these strange humans who dared to say no. Meanwhile, on Earth, Colonel Warren and his crew returned home as heroes. Crowds cheered as they stepped off the Defiance. Dr. Reed blinked in the bright sunlight, not used to it after weeks in space. Did you ever think we would pull it off? She asked Jack as they waved to the crowd. Honestly, no, he admitted with a smile. But that's what humans do. We beat the odds. At the United Nations, a new message arrived from the Galactic Council. President Wells read it first, then shared it with the world. People of Earth, she announced, her face on screens everywhere. The aliens have withdrawn their demand for tribute. Instead, they have offered us the first true alliance agreement ever given to a developing world. Cheers erupted in cities across the planet. Strangers hugged each other in the streets. After weeks of fear, the nightmare was over. 1 month later, the formal signing ceremony took place. Earth's Great Hall was filled with both humans and aliens, not as enemies, but as partners. Admiral Morgan watched from the side of the room, standing next to Dr. Reed. "Not bad for a species that was supposed to kneel," the Admiral said with a smile. "That's the thing about humans," Samantha replied. "We don't follow the path others expect. We make our own way." In the years that followed, humanity spread out into the galaxy. Earth became known not for giving up its treasures, but for its new ideas, strong will, and brave spirit. The story of how a small planet stood up to the mighty galactic hegemony was told on 1,000 worlds. And because of that one brave stand, the galaxy itself changed. New species were welcomed as friends, not forced to pay tribute. The hegemony became a true alliance of equals. As for the crew of the Defiance, they remained heroes forever. Jack Warren became the first human ambassador to the Galactic Council. Dr. Reed led a new research team combining Earth and alien technology. Their children grew up in a world where the stars were not distant points of light, but places they could visit. All because when the galaxy expected humanity to bow, they stood tall instead. The end.